Does Tipsy know his whiskey? Let's find out. What is going on, everybody? Nathan here with the Everyday Drinker, bringing you guys a brand new video. As you can see on the bar top here, we have a little bit of a blind. This blind was sent from Steven from Tipsy Whiskey Shenanigans. Him and myself have been in contact with each other, and we decided to do a little bit of a blind bourbon battle against each other. He sent me over 4 bourbons or ryes, and I sent him over 4 bourbons and ryes. Now, if you want to see his version of this, which are my samples, his channel link will be down below. Make sure you go check that out and drop a subscribe over on his channel. Now, to pick a winner out of this blind battle, you have a maximum score of 10 points per sample. Now, to get those points, your first point comes from the type. Do you guess if it's a bourbon or a rye? That's 1 point. Point number 2 comes from proof. Are you within 5 proof points of the specific proof of that sample? That's another point. Is this sample finished? Yes or no? That's a point. If it is finished, what is it finished in? That right there is another point. Guess the age. Can you guess within 1 age year of this sample? That is another point. And the cream of the crop question, can you guess the specific bottle? That right there is worth 5 points for a maximum of 10. If you're enjoying the content, make sure you are dropping that like, and if you want your chance to win a bottle of Blanton's, make sure you drop that subscribe button, because at 5,000 subscribers, this bottle of Blanton's will be for one of you lucky winners. All of these samples have been poured. They have been sitting out and airing out for quite a little bit now, and I am excited to get into these samples. And sample number 1 is poured in a Tipsy Whiskey Shenanigans Glencairn. Thank you, Steven, for sending this beautiful glass over my way. But without further ado, let's get into sample number 1 and see if we know anything about bourbon or rye. Okay, so sample number 1 is 100% a bourbon. That's definitely a bourbon on the nose. Let's get into the palate here and see if we can decipher all of these other questions. That's interesting. That is musty, musty, musty. It reminds me of 1792 bottled in bond. Has a little touch of a bitterness on that back end, but it is sweet. Has a sweet front. I'm gonna go out and say that this is not finished. Age, I'm gonna say 4 years. I'm gonna guess at 100 proof. Finished in what? Nothing, because it's not finished. I'm going to come back to most of these and finalize these guesses, but right now I'm thinking it's a bourbon, 100 proof, finished in nothing. Let's move on to sample B here and see if this is any different. This is also a bourbon. I'm getting Eagle Rare vibes off of this. I'm getting Buffalo Trace Eagle Rares, like something higher proof in this. I'm getting Buffalo Trace vibes 100% out of this glass. Let's get into the palate. But it's not Buffalo Trace on the palate. That's very apple-y. So I think for that said, I'm gonna say that this is finished, but in what? Yeah, I am going to swing left field here, and I'm gonna say that's like a cognac finished cask. Could be so wrong on that, but I'm saying cognac. It does taste a little bit more aged, so I think on the age, I'm gonna give it like an 8 years. And proof, it's a little hotter than the one on the left. I'm gonna say like 112 proof. And then we'll come back to these and, like I said, pick the specific bottle, because I'm gonna need to go through these again 100%, because these two so far, pretty damn good pours there, Steven, if I do say so myself. But without further ado, let's move on to glass sample C here. Whoa. Whoa. That is very interesting. Wow. That nose is very, very interesting. So, I'm pretty sure we said that we were doing just bourbons and ryes. And this not smelling like a bourbon, I'm gonna go out and say that this is a rye. This is one heck of an interesting nose for sure. Steven, what are you doing to me, dude? What is that? It tastes like a chalkboard. Why? Why would you do that? What is this? You just wanted to send me something interesting. This is your little something interesting. You know how they have something blue at a wedding? This is your something interesting on your shelf. And I know it is. I know it is. You don't have anything else on your shelf that tastes like this. Or smells like it, for that fact. I have absolutely no idea. You wanted me to lose, so you sent me this to make sure that you win this. You little stinker. There's no way in hell that's a bourbon. It's got to be a rye, and I'm gonna go out in left field and say that it's got to be finished in like Isla Scotch casks. I'm gonna say it's like 95 proof, finished in Scotch casks, or yes, finished in Scotch barrels, aged for 9 years, and I really don't. High West is some weird shit. They're always my fallback for weird shit is High West, and that's some weird shit right there. So High West is my guess for sample C, but without further ado, let's get into sample D. Sample D is back into my wheelhouse, my realm, my enjoyment meter is back up to here. But I don't know. I'm gonna say it's a bourbon. Man, dude, I love these blinds because you find some really, really interesting things that you didn't think that you would enjoy. Now, sample D, it's something that if I knew what it was, I would imagine I wouldn't buy it. But because I have it in a sample and I have no clue whatsoever what it is, it's not something that I would drink every single day. But if I had this urge, this want for this, I would go for it. But I'm changing my guess from bourbon to a rye. I'm saying D is a rye because I get a little bit more of a rye spice, a little bit more of that like rye punch that you get out of them. And I also get a little bit of like that pine dust, the pine bark, pine needles, whatever you want to say comes out of ryes that I always get. Those not carnivorous. Are they carnivorous or are they deciduous? I don't know. But that's definitely, you know what that's finished in like, I'm going to say that's a sherry finish. And I'm also going to say like 98 proof. But who would do something like this? I think Chattanooga did some weird things. I'm going to say that that's 6 years old in Chattanooga. But we need to get back into the first two here because I need to pick a specific bottle for these two. And number one, I think, was my favorite out of the four. Maybe number two was my favorite, but I enjoyed the first two the most. These two, I would most likely say I would add to my shelf once I know what they are. Out of sample A, I'm getting a little bit more peanut. It is opened up and I'm getting a little peanut dust. You know what? I'm going to say that this is 86 proof, and I'm going to say it's an Evan Williams single barrel. Evan Williams single barrel is what glass A is. That's my guess. Let's move on to sample B. Sample B is so interesting. I love the nose on B, but the palate just, I've drank the most out of B, and I don't know what it is. But cognac finish was stupid. Why am I saying cognac finish? I need to get myself a little bit more of this. I need a little bit more. I need some help out of the sample bottle to give me the information that is sealed inside of this beautiful jar. I need it tell me, Bourbon Gods, what this is. It's a little. I think 112 proof is too high as well. I don't think anything really is like that proofy. I'm gonna say 105 proof. And is it finished? I don't know. I'm gonna go back and say no, that it is not finished. It's aged for 8 years. It's so medicinal. It's got a lot of fruit. Like it tastes like fruit medicine almost. I'm gonna say it's a Russell's. Russell's Reserve. All right, we have all of our samples written out and guessed, and we're gonna find out right now through his answer key what each of these are together. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Sample A, my guess, was a bourbon at 86 proof, finished no, in what nothing, aged for 4 years in an Evan Williams single barrel. Letter A is Jefferson's Reserved, very old, very small batch, 45.1% ABV, $65, non-age stated. So, this is a bourbon. That is 1 point. He said 45.1. I said 86. That is within 5 proof points. That's 1 point. Finished? No, that is 1 point. In what? Nothing. That's not a point because it's not finished. Aged 4 years, not age stated, and guess Evan, what I was thinking about was wrong. All right, let's move on to sample letter B. My guess was it was a bourbon that is proofed at 105, not finished for 8 years, and Russell's Reserve. This was Middle West Spirits Sherry Cask, 6 years old, at 48.63% ABV and $100. So this was a bourbon at 98, so I'm off on that. It is finished. It's older, or it's younger than 8 years, and it's not a Russell's Reserve. All right, let's move on to sample C. Sample C, my guess was that it was a rye at 95 proof, finished in Scotch barrels for 9 years and out of High West. Letter C was Adventurous Stills Syrah Cask Reserve Small Batch. This is your favorite local craft distillery here in Arizona at 55.3%. My guy, that is some interesting shit. So it's 110 proof. There's no way this is 110 proof. And it's finished in Syrah barrels. I mean, I'm not the biggest, Syrah wine fan. Wow, that is interesting. Over 95 proof, not finished in Scotch barrels, non-age stated. So, without further ado, let's move into sample D. Sample D is an Iron Root Herbinger Tri-Barrel Blend at $80 and 62.6%, 60 months old. That is a very interesting pour as well. An Iron Root Harbinger Tri-Barrel Blend. This was very interesting. I only got 4 points out of all of these. These were some really heavy hitters, some very different barrels and bottles and brands and companies. 2 of them I've never heard of, the Iron Root Harbinger and the Adventurous Stills. Those 2, never heard of, never tried anything out of them. Jefferson's, I've had a pour of a Jefferson's Ocean. Wasn't the biggest fan of it. And, well, yeah, this was an absolute blast. Steven, I hope you enjoyed the samples that I sent your way. I hope you scored higher than I did because I think 4 points is an absolute atrocious score for the 4 samples you sent me. But I can't thank you enough for sending them my way, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time, this has been Nathan with the Everyday Drinker. Cheers.